everybody, Brett from Bats in the Belfry, back for another cool stuff video with my clean shaven face. Last video I had like a full beard and everything. It's kind of weird having a clean shaven face, but regardless, we're here to do stuff. So I went to a place in our local area called Eternia Dreams, I believe it's called. I did a video like maybe 2 years ago of me and my wife going there and getting a couple things. But they have a lot of cool collectibles, whole lot of toys in there, especially like retro, like older toys, and mostly from He-Man, because Eternia is of course from He-Man, so that's what they named it after. So most of the store is like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe figures just everywhere. But they do have a lot of cool stuff and a lot of hidden gems in there. So I have some cool new stuff to show off that is from there. I'm going to call this, I guess, the VHS edition of cool new stuff, because I got a couple VHS tapes, but I do have 2 DVDs as well in this update video. So starting off, I found this one called Frankenstein, a cinematic scrapbook. This just caught my eye. I'm like, what in the world is this? And so I'm going to read the back of the case to you all, but is this diabolically delicious collection of movie trailers and terrifying trivia will delight even the most ardent fan of cinema's sinister son, Frankenstein. Once privileged, behind-the-scenes information is revealed concerning the great actors Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney Jr., Bela Lugosi, and others, and Frankenstein's legendary past both on and off screen. Features clips from the original classic and such hilarious spoofs as Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein and Mel Brooks's modern-day masterpiece, Young Frankenstein. This is approximately 60 minutes. I don't know. I just saw this and I just felt like it was just very interesting to have. And one funny thing is it's from Rhino Home Video. And Rhino, I know, at least was like a record company, I think in like the 80s and maybe 90s. Maybe they still exist today. I'm not sure, but this was actually from 1991, it looks like this was created. So, yeah, excited to get into this. I mean, I feel like it's just going to be like, it's just like a bunch of movie trailers and such, but yeah, I'm excited. I couldn't pass this up. It was only like $5, and I was like, it's cool just to have something that just says Frankenstein, a cinematic scrapbook on there. I'm excited to see that, see how it is. It's just be something that's just cool to have on the shelf, you know. All right. Next up is, I found this one. This was actually $10, but I figured I'd, at least indulge myself with it. There were some VHS tapes there that were way out of the ordinary. Like there was one, I think it was called like Mad Monsters, and it was this old like cartoon that was like some Halloween special. It was like a cartoon like reimagining of Bride of Frankenstein, but I literally looked at the price tag. It was saying it was like $17. I was like, I'm good for a VHS tape. I'm good on that one. And I could have just gotten something pretty terrible, but this one, it was 10, but I couldn't pass it up. And I don't even think I have any of the others of the series on VHS, but I was like, you know what, why not? And I actually do like this movie. This is one not a lot of people talk about because it was a TV movie, but that is Psycho 4, the beginning. And this does have Anthony Perkins, who, played Norman Bates and all the other Psycho movies. And Psycho 4 is, it's called The Beginning, and it is kind of like the origin story of Norman's mom, but it also has an old Anthony Perkins in it. And I know in like the beginning of the movie, he like calls into this like radio station that's like has this weird like topic of conversation. And so Norman calls in and is being quite, Norman-ish, like the bad side of Norman. And shockingly, this movie, I don't want to spoil it, but it shockingly does have a pretty happy ending. And that was kind of refreshing to see, especially for all the other Psycho movies. You're kind of just like, you're kind of rooting for Norman. At least this is just my opinion. Through the Psycho series, you kind of root for Norman. And like, he's got all these problems, but like, he does have a good soul to him. And like, I think that's what's interesting about the Psycho movies. It's just like his mom and like just his mental health is just completely like messes with him and gets him in really tight spots and situations. And Psycho 4 kind of plays with that. Not the best acting. I mean, it's been quite a while since I've seen it, but I do have like all the Psycho movies on like this one DVD of like all the sequels. But I love collecting horror VHS tapes, so I thought I'd pick this one up, and I'm excited to watch it on VHS. But yeah, if you've actually only seen the original Psycho, I actually suggest watching the sequels. I can legitimately say Psycho 2 is a great sequel to the original. I mean, some will probably say it doesn't hold a candle to the original movie, but Psycho 2, I think, is like really up there as a great sequel. And definitely, I think I did a video on like horror movie sequels that don't suck, and Psycho 2, I think I put on that list. Psycho 3 is like if you just want like just a straightforward like whatever type slasher movie, you'll enjoy that. But Psycho 4 is definitely the most different of all of those. But yeah, I recommend all the Psycho movies. Check them out. So next up is one I kind of got for Kelly because she thought it looked interesting, and I know she wants to watch it, and I'm more than willing to check it out as well. But I've never really heard much about the movie, if it's good or not, but it was like $4. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna get it. Like, let's just take a risk. And that is Bones, starring Snoop Dogg. And it says on here that it's a thriller, but when you read the back of the case, it says Bones ranks high as a hellish maggot-infested scream fest. I don't really think of thriller when I hear a sentence like that, so this is very horror to me. And I mean, it looks fun. I mean, I think if out of anything, I'm probably gonna have a lot of fun with this movie. So I don't know if I'll do a review on it or not, but I'll at least definitely watch it. And on the front here, it says includes Snoop Dogg music video. It says includes Snoop Dogg music video with exclusive concert footage. Hell yeah, let's check it out. I mean, that's even more of a selling point to me here. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to check that out. So, all right, that was, yeah, I got 3 VHS tapes, but that ended up coming out to like $20 for 3 VHS tapes. And I definitely spent a lot less on several VHS tapes, but I mean, seeing those, I was like, I'm probably not going to find these, in other places. At least Psycho 4 and this Frankenstein cinematic scrapbook, like, you're not going to find that anywhere unless like in someone's like yard sale or a flea market of some sort. But even then, so last remaining things I have are 2 DVDs. I think I mentioned in my last video, at least of talking just in retrospect of being on YouTube for 5 years, but this is one I wanted to get because I couldn't find it on streaming or anything like that, at least not right at least at the time I was looking for it. But I saw it on DVD and I just figured I'd pick it up. And I haven't heard great things about it, but I always have morbid curiosities about checking out movies that aren't that good, because most people should just watch movies and form their own opinions. And, there's nothing wrong with giving your opinions to other people and having other people take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, watch stuff and form your own opinion. Just because like 2 or 3 critics like said it was horrible doesn't mean you shouldn't watch it. But yeah, so we're forgetting all that. I picked up My Summer Story. So if you know anything about A Christmas Story, this is, I mean, I don't know if you would count it now, but at least at the time this came out, this was the official sequel to A Christmas Story. And My Summer Story, it does say on the back, it says it's the hilarious sequel to A Christmas Story. But yeah, I like how on the cover it has, the house has a straitjacket on it. But yeah, because I mean, if you think about, A Christmas Story and like sequels and stuff like that, they had A Christmas Story 2 come out. I think it was like 2015, 2016, something like that. I worked at an FYE at the time they released it on DVD and Blu-ray, and people just said it was like just horrible, and like just don't watch it. And then I think it was 2 years ago they released A Christmas Story Christmas, which is arguably the official sequel to A Christmas Story, because it had it had a lot of the original cast of A Christmas Story like come back for that movie, including the guy who played Ralphie. So, but with My Summer Story, it has, I'm pretty sure, none of the original cast of A Christmas Story in it. And I believe Christmas Story came out in 1983. This came out in 1994. So it was 11 years later that My Summer Story came out. And I'm pretty sure this bombed. Granted, like A Christmas Story, I think, like, I don't think it bombed at the box office when it was released, but I just think it made just enough. And it wasn't the hit that it went on to become that we know now. Like, it was just kind of like one of those that as time has gone on, it's gotten more and more popular. And now it's like, it's engraved in pop culture now. But with My Summer Story, I never really heard much about this. And I was like, I remember hearing the title. I'm like, is that like any correlation to A Christmas Story? And sure enough, it is. I really don't know what to expect out of this movie. But, I mean, I'm sure it's going to have like the narration type thing, like from A Christmas Story, but at one point I do want to do a review on this. So expect a review coming soon on that. I mean, with, we're in mid-May right now, with summer coming up and just the hot weather. I mean, at least where I live in Maryland, the hot weather's already started. Like, I mean, Maryland to me is just summer and winter. There's no in between really. But yeah, My Summer Story. I want to do a review on this, so expect that soon. But yeah, I got that, so let's move on. The final thing for this video I got is actually my wife and I watched this last night, and I have to say it's honestly one of the best of the series, and that is Saw X, or Saw 10, or Sawx, if you want to call it that. But yeah, this is a lot better than you kind of expect. I know a lot of people were hyping up this movie when it first initially came out in theaters. And I just didn't get around to the theater to see it. I don't really go to the movies as much as I'd like to, but, now knowing this was out on, DVD and Blu-ray, I was like, you know what? I own all the other Saw movies, so I might as well get this one. And watched it last night, and yeah, it was a pleasant surprise. It's really odd how this movie like starts, and it takes a while for this movie to get going. And that's really odd from a Saw movie. Usually it opens up with something like crazy and freaky and some sort of trap in all the others. But with this one, it starts off as just like a straightforward drama, honestly. And it's weird because they make John Kramer kind of the protagonist of this entire movie. And I think that's a big criticism that you can definitely make towards this movie. Hi. Okay, that was my wife. But that's the thing with this movie, is like you can easily make that criticism that it's like, why would you make John Kramer the protagonist? It's like he's a serial killer and he's done some really heinous acts towards people. And he has this like moral code of like people should appreciate their life and such, but in a really, really twisted way. And it's still that case in this movie for sure. But it's odd how it works. It really does, because, I mean, the only way you could have made this script work is if the people that John was involved with are even arguably way worse than he is. And there's one character in particular, this girl, who, I mean, most of the plot is like, if you look up anything about the basic plot, is you know the first 20 minutes how it's going to unfold, but everything is played out like a drama. Like, Tobin Bell, this is like, I think this is like his best performance he's ever done in anything. And like, he actually gives a lot of soul to John Kramer as a character. And like, he's upset because he has cancer and he's just so desperate to find something that's going to help cure him and everything. And then the people that, he does this experimental surgery with, turns out they're just con artists. They just pretend, they give people false hope that they're going to save their life, and turns out they just steal people's money from this fake surgery, basically. And and then of course you're just like, those people suck. Like, you want to see them die. And so that's what makes this really work, at least for me. And that's why John Kramer kind of works as a protagonist in this movie. And even though this takes place in between Saw 1 and 2, it does add a lot of tension to it, because you're like, okay, obviously Amanda dies in Saw 3. Obviously Jigsaw or John Kramer dies in Saw 3. Like, so they have to live through this movie, but this movie does a good job at still having a lot of tension in it. And yeah, all the performances were all really good. I would say there was just one character, I think his name was Mateo. I mean, I was actually watching the special features to this, and it was funny how the director, I forget his name, Kevin something, but he had said that the guy playing Mateo brought like this like little whiny bitch energy, and like that's literally what I was thinking. I was like, I hate to say this because you have the right to freak out if you were in a saw trap. I was like, this guy's being kind of a little bitch right now. And so yeah, like, I mean, I think he did a good job, because like that clearly what he was going for. And but you know, I could see some people thinking like, this guy is just like so over the top, he's ridiculous and annoying. But yeah, all the characters were really memorable in this Saw movie. And like, there was a lot of depth to some of these characters, which it's refreshing in a Saw movie. And like, yeah, I mean, I haven't done like a, you know, a Saw movie franchise ranking, but you know, if I did a Saw movie franchise ranking, I would say this is up there as honestly one of the best. And it's weird, I don't say that much about like newer movies, but like the second this movie ended, I was like, honestly, that's one of the best Saws I've seen. And yeah, like I've seen every single one, and I would actually say Spiral, which was the one that was before this, that might be the worst, in my opinion at least. But yeah, if you haven't seen, if you're a fan of the Saw movies and you haven't seen the latest one, definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. I mean, it's not like this Oscar or amazing movie. It is a Saw sequel at the end of the day, but just a really well done Saw sequel. So yeah, that's all I can really say about it. It's a solid movie. So I guess that was my mini review of Saw X, or Socks. I make that joke to Kelly all the time. I'm like, you want to watch Socks tonight? And yeah, anyways, that's going to wrap it up here for my cool new stuff video. I was a bit all over the place, which I tend to be in most videos. But I hope you all have enjoyed this regardless. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We mostly try to do spooky type stuff, but I'm also all over the place with video ideas that I tend to do. But if you enjoyed any of this content, yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear some comments, or if you would just want to give it a thumbs up, share it around. It's greatly appreciated. It just shows that people are enjoying what we're doing here. Other than that, thank you all for watching. I will see you in a future video. Bye.